Welcome everyone to a super special edition of The Player and the Fan. I have two.
Mama edition.
They already adopted me. It's over. Miss Tammala's gonna cook for me when she comes up here. They're the best parents that I've ever come across. Some of the most sweetest women, and they've always been an advocate. And I'm so happy to have them on with me and David. Miss Tammala, who is Garrison Brooks' mom, and Miss Carla, who is a mother of Leaky Black. Welcome, ladies, and thank you so much for your time today.
Glad to be here.
Welcome to the player and the fan. So thankful for y'all to be here.
So we're going to start off. I think David is going to start off because I know he has more of the athletic questions for us. And David, it's all on you.
So I want to get to it right off the bat because I had a mama that was probably the loudest woman in the stands every single game. She cheered her heart out. Like even when I turned to a coach, she would come to my games and fuss the cheerleaders out for not cheering enough. Like, so that's kind of my guy. So I know for sure what this episode is gonna be. So I'm grateful for y'all being here and thank y'all so much. But my first question is, and Ms. Tammala, you can start off with this one. Because we'll give you this one because your son is a senior. How has it been over the last 4 years watching your son grow, especially at the University of North Carolina? So we've had Garrison, jump out there and be advocate for Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. So how is it watching your son from you leaving him at the dorm from the first day you dropped him off to now, and then watching him go into his senior year?
He has made ginormous strides. He has become vocal. When I dropped him off, he was shy, he was quiet,
Mm-hmm.
he was timid. I was like, this child is not gonna make it 7 hours. He grew into being able to handle his own. He speaks for himself. I no longer pick out his clothes. I don't have to ties. He does his own shopping. And he has grown into a very strong leader. I didn't see him being that vocal. When he first left, I was like, God, he don't ever say anything. He just goes along with the flow. And now he actually talks. He used to shy away from the camera. Now he want to be in front of the camera. I see him with his teammates. He's such a big brother, the leader kind of guy, and it's amazing to see him come from way down here to all the way up here, even on the court. I watched him be such a role player, just do what he's supposed to do, follow directions, follow the instructions, to now he helps someone else learn everything that, he learned along the way. So I think that kind of goes with Carolina. When he got there, I remember Luke and Cam saying, hey, Miss Tam, we got him. Don't worry about him. He needs anything, we got him. And now he's in that role. Because I remind him all the time, I say, hey, now you got to be Luke and Cam. And it's quite incredible to see the maturation. It is. It really is.
That's good stuff. Love it.
And you want Miss Carla to answer that as well?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was so into what Mrs. Tammala was saying. Right. But I will only add to that, I haven't known Garrison, obviously, as long as you guys have, but what I've seen as a parent of a student coming behind him, everything you said about how he's being the big brother, he was that way last year too, and before that. And he might not have been as vocal, but people heard what he said because I've spoken with that person before, so I know they listen. And I feel my child is very much an introvert. So he has what I call those still waters that run deep, but he may not express that in the way that you want him to, or for him to feel comfortable doing. And I think he's still growing in that respect. And I trust the coaches and even the former players that reach out and encourage that to just come on out. He's not where he used to be, and he's still on his journey, but I'm grateful for Garrison and for the Lukes and all those young men before him that kind of said, "You good, we got you." And even for Miss Tammala, who has been that way with our mothers group. We have a mothers group and we pray and we encourage each other. And she's our leader. So I appreciate that. You know, we often sometimes get so busy with life that we forget to hold on to the people we care about, you know, as tightly as we can, especially in these times. So that's been beneficial. But I'm still watching my child grow, and that in and of itself is a gift. I don't take the opportunity that he has at University of North Carolina lightly at all. And I do feel like it's a family. And I've been made a part of that family.
So sweet. So how did you two meet? Miss Tammala told me this story before, but I want to know, how did you two meet, and what was that like, ushering in Miss Tammala, someone under Garrison, and, you know, taking his mom into the fold?
Go ahead, Miss Tammala.
We came to a game, kind of like a recruiting trip, and Carla came to the game. We hadn't committed. I was still working on him. The game to meet us, and I was like, "Wait a minute, she coming to meet us? Her son is younger." And it was so amazing that she came to meet Garrison because she kind of, I guess, heard about him, you know, and her son was already committed. And for her to come and embrace our family, just, you know, before we even got in the door, I was like, really? You know, she reminded me of me. You know, I've always been a mama. And it was just amazing. And when Garrison didn't initially commit to Carolina, she still reached out. And that was one of the more amazing things, that, you know, hey, I was family even after I wasn't really even family.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that stood out about Carolina more than anything. The morning my kid committed to another college, I get a call from Coach Davis and Coach Williams. Coach Williams tells me, if you have a flat tire anywhere in North Carolina and I can drive to you and get you, you are still part of the family. I'm coming to get you. Will always be, if you need me, hey, call me. And you know, that meant the world.
The craziest part is, again, like everybody, and again, this is me speaking from experience, and everybody like wants to know what the Carolina family is, and you guys are really like experiencing that right now, and it truly is, and it's just like every family, we have our ups and downs, our battles, and all that kind of stuff internally, but that is real, what you guys are getting right now. But back to you, Mama Black. So me and Quierra have often talked on this show about your son being the X factor, and I want you to kind of speak to what you see in Leaky's development over the last couple years, because for me, I feel like he is right there on the cusp.
He's the glue.
He is. He's
the glue. I'm telling you.
He is. And for me, when he went down his freshman year, I was like, because he was the guy that could come in and do every single thing on the floor that we needed him to do. He could guard the 1 through 5 position. He could handle the basketball. He can do every single thing on the floor. And now this year, going into his junior year, we always talk about junior years kind of being that breakout year for you to be the superstar that you are capable of being. And I truly feel like Leaky Black is that guy. So how do you see his development going? Also, again, growing as a young man off of the floor, but also on the floor.
Yes. I see a lot of different things, and I wish I had the knowledge that you, Miss Quierra, and even Miss Tammala have. And I often look at it through the lens of an educator. And I would tell teachers, kids don't believe what they can do. They believe what you believe they can do. So that's why it's so much power in what we say and how we mold them and how we build them up. And not empty praise. I don't like that, but like genuine feedback. I saw you do this, and that means that you can do this too. And I want to see that again. And having that type of instruction that goes along with that coaching to grow a person, whether it's in the classroom or on the court. I tell people all the time, there is no other place I would want my child to be other than where he is, because I agree with what you said. He is like right there, and he's listening more to specifics about what he needs to do to have more confidence in his game. and to have more confidence in his ability that everybody else sees. But he is also a humble kid. Sometimes he doesn't see that, but people will tell him, I saw that. And I know that if you can do that, you can do this. So some things have happened with some of the former players, some of the coaching staff that were former players. And even, I would say, a new aspect this summer or a new, I guess you could say, interaction that he's had this summer in a different way that he's spoken a lot about. And that's his relationship with Coach Davis. So he's been able to get in there and do some shooting drills of some sort with Coach Davis. And the minute, I can't remember if it was Coach Rob or somebody that shared that with me, or maybe it was Coach Doug, I just started praising God. I was like, Lord, this is what I've been waiting on. Because if anybody knows that shooting, I know all the coaches know everything, but if anybody knows that at the technical side of that, it's him. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, I'm just going to say this, he's a man of God. I know whatever he's sowing in my son's spirit is going to be good for him. So I was just like, okay, we're putting all these ingredients and we're going to try this recipe. And then the other day when I got to talk to him for a good bit of time, I said, baby, we've been shuffling the deck for 2 seasons now. I said, this is the third. We got to deal cards. It's time to go. So I'm like, and then we talked about all the different things they've done. Just last night, and I'm gonna be quiet after this. He bragged about how close they are this year. He thinks a lot of your son, Miss Tam, of course, but he also praised Armando. And he said, Mama, he said, that dude's smart. He said I won't say what honor he's gotten because it may not be my place to do that. But what he told me, he said that it takes a lot to get into that school, Mama. And he said he's smart. And he was propping his teammate, and I said, do y'all seem to have that feeling throughout the team? He said, yes, we do. They're all like really bonding, spending time together. So you got the coaches doing what they need to do for him, his teammates, and now it's up to him. He's just that close. It's now for you to turn the switch on and go.
Yeah, they honor it. Armando tweeted it. He got into the business school.
He did.
And I believe someone else.
Sterling got into, I think, the journalism or.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That just made my day. Yeah. That made my day.
That is. So talk about recruiting, because I feel like, you know, parents or kids these days, back in 2017 or even 18, we're on the cusp of what it is now. It's not even the same in 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Talk about how recruiting has changed or how you've seen it evolve, even in like 2 years or 2-3 years since your children have gotten into school.
Recruiting, I come from a real AAU environment, and kids back in 2015, 2016, worked really, really, really hard. You got to show and prove. Now it's more your name being out there. We came from an AAU team that had Wendell Carter, John Petty, Alex Reese at Alabama, Jamal Johnson plays at Auburn. We had a really, really stacked team, but they were phenomenal players. And I mean, you see they're all at a high level D1 team. Now kids, I don't want to say there's not as much talent.
No, don't say it, Mama, because you're right.
I don't see the talent level of players that I saw from, we played on EYBL, you know, Jason Tatum's and those guys. So you might come back from Boo Williams with some bruises, some busted lips. The athletes of today seem real entitled-ish. Mm-hmm. I had a 30-point game and everybody's supposed to be on me. And everybody wants to watch the stars and, hey, I'm a 4-star now and I'm number such and such and such and such. My kid was number 100 and something. I remember when he committed to Carolina, people were like, who is this? Where y'all get him from? But I knew from day one, Garrison played behind Wendell on our AAU team. And I used to say, hey, dude, you are just as good or better. I think you can do some things that Wendell can't do. As a matter of fact, I know some things that you do that some other athletes don't do that are ranked higher than you. But kids don't they don't work for that. They don't work for the recognition. It just seems to kind of come out there. They know my name. I was on this program. I was with this program. The recruiting has evolved, and now the athletes seem like they got more control than the coaches.
Yeah.
They just dot from team to team to team. I committed to this, and it's such a media blitz. It's like everything is such a promote. I saw a kid do a commitment to a transfer. He transferred to like he was committing. Yeah. I was like, so it has become such a production. So then when they get to college and the real grind starts, some of them back off. That's why the transfer list has about 12 to 1,500 every single year. Nobody tells them, hey, you got to get it when you get there. Mm-hmm. See, that it looks real good on paper when you got 75 offers. You can only take one, but nobody tells them, hey, it ain't even started yet. When you tell you to get on the line, that's when it all starts. But it seems like it's kind of, I don't want to say watered down, but the talent has taken such a turn, you know. But that's just my take on it.
Oh no, that's definitely real, Miss Tam. You just preached a sermon right there. Because I'm gonna tell you, I wholeheartedly believe that everything that you just said. So I was speaking to, I forget who I was speaking to, but I was telling them, like, in my day, we had to go and see the next best player in North Carolina. I had to go and see your Shavlik Randolphs, your Eric Williams, your Justin Grays, all of those guys. I had to go and see them. I had to go and play against them. I couldn't tweet about them. I couldn't post a video of me dunking real quick and then I get recruited by the University of North Carolina. I had to go and put in that blood, sweat, and tears of equity every single time we stepped out there on the floor. And that's what I think the problem is. Social media, I tell people this all the time, social media has glorified these guys to a point to where you don't even know if they're good or not. Mm-hmm. A highlight tape makes you good now. But speaking of social media, and Ms. Black, I'll turn this back to you. How is it growing up with your sons growing up in a social media era? How do you protect them in so many ways from the access that fans have to your sons? And especially being at the University of North Carolina, they're in a spotlight, especially having a year like we had last year. I know there were some things being said, about, but how do you protect your sons from that type of, I guess, interaction from fans?
Sorry, I knew that was going to happen. I would say, I don't know if you can provide complete protection. I wish I could say I do a good job of that, but what I have tried to do, Coach, is prepare him as much as I could for, the interaction with the negativity, which they received a great deal of last year. And if you go to my son's Instagram page, you're not going to see a whole lot of posts. I don't know if he's posted in the last 5 or 6 months. He might put some on the story, whatever. But as far as people getting at him, I tell him, you be prepared for that. So he knows that people are going to do that. And I think he had one incident even last season where he said something back. And I said, okay, see, if somebody comes back at you, mama is going to do this. But we have to be prepared for that. And to let them know that you're going to deal with a lot of the negativity when things don't go right, especially if you play for the University of North Carolina. There's a tradition. And it's not that people mean you personally harm. It's just a standard that people expect. So you just got to deal with that. So you try to express that to them and let them know that if you know that you didn't do your very best, or you're still hurt. My son has dealt with injuries ever since that January Georgia Tech game. And I have not seen him do one type of interview where he complained about that being the reason we lost. And I expect him to be that kind of man. Don't make any excuses. It's not what you wanted. And one of the things he said is going through everything, all the negativity with social media, whatever, taught him is that you can't pay attention to any of it. the good or the bad. And I said, I always told you, you're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad as other people say you are. But that seasoned experience, especially through social media, develops something within that man's character. He will take into this season and appreciate every single moment he's on that court, and appreciate every single good moment and the bad, because that's what develops his character. And I can't tell you that I have the answers for that, but I can tell you that that's kind of how I've tried to keep him prepared for it.
Now, how do y'all deal with it in person? Because it's one thing to see it on social media. You can always log off. But when you're at a game and someone behind you is just yelling obscene things, like, how do you just keep your composure? Because I know
it has changed me. In high school, if you said something about 1-5, his mama, that lady down there that's standing up there looking at you. I've got so much better. College has changed me. I mean, you didn't go there. And I guess where we sit, we don't hear an abundance of it. Occasionally, somebody will loose their prestigious tickets to somebody that ain't got no business sitting in those wonderful
parts.
And I've heard a few people, you know, hey, you ain't got no business down here if you feel like that. But we don't hear a whole lot of in person. I think my first interaction or worst interaction was probably in Greensboro. Was it in Greensboro? No.
First one was NC State.
Yeah, NC State.
Mm-hmm. Hey. Remind me to come back to that, because I got a story for y'all about NC State. But go ahead.
You know, and when people, I think maybe in Greensboro, when the guy walked down and started to get at Garrison.
Oh yes.
On the sidelines.
Wake Forest. Because I stood up.
Y'all must not know his mama about that life.
Yes.
But he is so trained. He's so not me. He's almost the opposite. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of rolls off. But like Mr. Brown said, he ain't took that after me. But I always tell him, you give off the persona of such a nice guy.
Yes.
Tend to take that really lightly. So don't ever let people think you won't get at them.
Right.
People on the court will use that. You know, a lot of people thought when he first came, oh, he just smiled. He's so nice. In the paint, dude, you got to be a little rough around the edges. So he is finally growing into that. That helps him handle a lot of stuff off the court, because we dealt with a lot of negativity, especially with the Silent Sam thing. You know, the coaches called and prepped me for that. I'm not from North Carolina, so I didn't know the details. So I had to do my research. And I always tell them, hey, if you're going to speak out about something, know what you're talking about. Get your facts straight. Don't just be. Didn't realize until really when Black Lives Matter really kicked off and they did the march, that people felt so strongly. I'm like, hey, these are some people's kids down here. You're saying all these things as though they just, y'all need to get your record up. They are still people, human beings. Fans, the couch potato fans, or the people get behind the boards forget that. They think they can just say whatever. They said to him, because they say it every now and then I clap back, but for the most part, try to be real reserved, really reserved.
It's funny because when y'all threw NC State out there, I already knew, because we had a situation. It was my senior year in 2000. It might have been 2006 when we went over there. And like literally, I had a dude following me up and down the court, cussing at me crazy, all altercations, because like my parents came, or my mom, and we had our little section of family that always came pretty much to every single game, even on the road, especially, you know, it being right up the street in North Carolina, everybody was there. So they had a situation before the game started. My mama throwing holy oil. My mama in her purse throwing holy oil on them. Like it was a crazy altercation. Nonetheless, we ended up whooping their butt, and I ended up having a career night. But it was funny when you guys said that, because I in my mind, I said, I know they done been to NC State. I wonder if they're gonna say NC State is the worst. And by far, NC State probably has the most disrespectful fans that you
this
can come
past
across.
year was
for
my
sure,
first time ever
going.
going. I had never been to NC State until this year. My husband had
yeah.
told me about it. I get there, I'm like, they off the chain here. It gives Duke a real run. Hey, the Cameron Craig. No.
Yeah, see, Cameron is, they're more creative. Like they're just creative. Now, if you got some dirt on you, they're gonna find it. They're gonna throw some stuff out there, but it's creative. NC State, they are disrespectful.
They
like
are just,
you want to put your hands on them. Like,
oh my God,
that's a whole different ball game with them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I had to get my 70-year-old mother under control. Some folks that were sitting not far, because I think the way they have us seated, they had someone sitting 2 or 3 rows behind us, and were shouting very nasty things to us and the players. And I decided I'm just going to stand up in front of him. So I stood. If you look back at the home game, I stood the whole time, because I turned around and told him, I said, you can keep talking all night. I don't care. And I'm going to stand right here, because nobody cares what you got to say. And my mama was like, don't you say nothing. Let me talk to him. And I was like, no. And no, because they were just rude. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I never try to behave like that would bring like shame to the group, because we're a group, you know. And most of us as mothers, as parents, or whether we look out for each other, and we even look out for the coaches' wives and family members, you know, what have you, if they're there, and Miss Jen, whoever. But they, by far, this past year were on a whole new level with the disrespect. So for us to have walked out of there with a win was a really bright, shining moment for me, because I was like, where did they all go? They were prepared. They thought we are down. They're down, so let's get them while we got them, and got surprised.
So what are expectations for this year? You can speak as parents or even as fans if you want to separate the two. What are you guys excited most about this year?
I'm excited about the connection, the connectivity. That was one of the things I noticed right off the bat last year. I missed the connectivity. I missed that camaraderie, that hey, put your arm around. It was real standoffish. Normally every single year we've done something I think one year we did like a 4th of July cookout and invite the whole team over. We just didn't get that feel with everybody. And I used to always tell them, if you can hang together outside of basketball, playing together is going to be great. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the meshing. It's great to have highly recruited athletes, stellar, the numbers coming in. This guy was all world. Putting it all together is the biggest thing. Getting the egos to step aside and everybody to come in and learn. Not to mention, we want to put last year behind us.
Right.
Behind us. But I want to see the guys mesh, grow. Being able to see them grow and to be able to follow the rules and do what coach expects them. Because if you can do what coach expects you to do, you will automatically be successful. It's so weird, because I used to ask, I said, do y'all have like this little notebook and y'all always recruit the same kind of guy? They always kind of like they all cousins some kind of way. They always act the same. They have these little corny personalities. Y'all a bunch of little goofballs. Y'all real. We had a barbecue and they were watching SpongeBob. And I was like, but their personalities are really, there are no knuckleheads. I can't say that I've been around Carolina basketball, and that's very odd in basketball. Because you usually got that one somebody that's about that life. They are all, just regular.
They all graduated with us. They all graduated. All the knuckleheads graduated around my time.
But I want to see them mesh. I want to see them. Hey, when you get to the point that you can do a no-look pass, and you can throw that perfect alley-oop, you know, that hey, that's my brother. I don't care if you the high point man tonight or just want to get that W. When they can remove self and numbers and my stats, it's all about the team. I want to see that.
I'll say this because I've talked to Coach May, Coach Hoops, all of those guys over the last couple of weeks, and I went down probably maybe 3 weeks ago and spoke to Jonas Suration. He's the strength coach down there, but that was the one thing that all of them echoed. They was like, "Yo, we got a great group this year." Because I asked them, I was like, "Yo, is it gonna be different?" I was like, "Please tell me now so I can prepare myself." Because I can't take this. You know what I'm saying? I can't take that. I talk way too much trash to take this. So for me, I was like, "Look, let me know now." So they was like, "Hey man, no, we got a great group of guys in here, and I don't want to call them kids, excuse me. Great group of guys in here. They come to work every single day, and this is the Carolina team that you're gonna be used to seeing." So I'm excited for this year to see exactly how they put it together, how things kind of come to fruition, and if they are able to put last year behind them. So for you, Mama Black, because Ms. Tammala, you just asked the last one. How do we as a team kind of put last year behind us, or what has to happen this season in order for people to forget about last year? Is it championship or bust? Is it win the ACC? What do you think Carolina has to do in order to get people to kind of forget about last year?
Well, if you're speaking in reference to fans or the players themselves, you think, or just us as an organization?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both, because so I'll elaborate a little bit. Because for the players, last year is going to stick with them this entire year. So for the fans, one win might can shift that. If we go in Cameron and beat Duke, we ain't worried about last year for the fans. But for the players, I think it's going to stick around a little bit longer. So speak more from the players' perspective.
Okay. Well, and just so everyone knows, and I'm not sure if I know your background, Ms. Quierra, I didn't make anybody's athletic team, but I work with teams all the time. So whenever I work with a team of teachers or whoever, one of the things that I do like to play off of is disappointment, and you didn't get your way, or that didn't go well for us, and how that's always used one or two ways. Okay, it's either going to be that thing that you remember that you can't get past it to be what you're going to be, or you're on your road to becoming something different, and you can't continue to look in the rearview mirror if we're moving forward, right? So use that to catapult you into where you're going. And, with kids, I'm sure they could say, this is your destiny. This year's team is going to redeem a lot of what we had to deal with last year. I hope you remember it, because I hope you appreciate the good times that you have had. Like my son said, he didn't appreciate his freshman season. Even before he got hurt, one of the things he said multiple times is, "Mom, I didn't appreciate that season as much as I should have." So last year, if it didn't teach him anything else, I know it taught him that, because he said that, and they're talking about growing and moving forward. And I will continuously say the worst parts of last season, from the fans, the disappointment that you can see on the look of your coaches' faces, because I think that went much, much deeper than what the fans tend to say on social media. Just disappointing people who've invested their family time, their time and energy, their blood, sweat, and tears, their praise, all of that into you. And to know we didn't come out with the outcome that we wanted, reflect on it. I hope that is all going on. I trust that it is, because I trust our coaches and I trust our families, and the kids are good kids, but to help them not forget it, but in a way that's going to continue to push them beyond what the expectations are for themselves. And you can't be worried about what you think other people want you to do. You're going to have to become the person that on the inside you're supposed to be, and stay in your lane. I tell my kids here, no traffic in your own lane. Stop trying to be like everybody else. You're not going to be the team that Coach Noel was on. You guys are going to be something different. We're creating that now, and it's going to be using some of what happened last year to become that team for this coming year. So I hope all of that is something that they're building off of. I think the fans are, some of them are fickle, no offense or no disrespect. Like Miss Tammala said, the little couch potato fan, if they get a couple of wins, they'll act like that didn't happen. But, we took that heat too. People knew when I walked in the principal's meeting, don't say nothing to me. To those other schools, because I will snap, crackle, pop on one of y'all. Don't talk about them kids either, because I know those boys, they're good kids.
Right.
But it was hard. So as I say all that to say, I hope they're using the negative parts of last season to definitely be more committed to the work ethic, to the regimen the coaches have them doing, to the tradition, committed to the tradition of what being a player at North Carolina means, and becoming the best man on and off the court that they can possibly be this year.
Okay, so we're ending the podcast in a couple of minutes, but I just want to ask you guys a quick, short question. So it's like one answer. And it's just whatever comes to mind first. So the first question is, outside of your own sons, who are you most excited to see this year?
Leaky Black.
I was about to say Garrison, bro.
I have always called him the glue that would bind this team together. And I said it like 2-3 years ago, because I watched him from, like I said, AAU until now, and I knew he could do some things. And he will tell you, I am on him from the minute he come out of that locker room. Hey, stop thinking, shoot the ball.
Yes.
Be more assertive. Hey, be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Leaky is definitely a game changer. I told him last year, I said, they go as you go. Mm-hmm. Not Garrison, not Cole. They will go as far as you go. And I still mean that. He has not tapped into all of his resources. He has a full arsenal. He can do so much more. And he know Miss Tammala gonna get on him from show me that Leaky Black that I've been expecting for 3 years.
I'm with you on that one. I'm ready to see that too.
I'm obviously excited to see Garrison. I've just grown to love him. And I'm excited about I think we're both excited about all the players, definitely. But I'm definitely happy and excited for Garrison. I mean, I've watched him. See, I've been attending the game since Leaky committed, and I've watched Garrison since day one. And I just love him. With the minute I met you, Miss Tammala, and I met your son, I was like, those are my people. You could just tell sometimes. And to know some of the things that he shared with some of the other players to lift them up when I knew he was down or hurting or whatever. I mean, that kind of leadership that doesn't look for show or somebody to tweet about it or whatever, just the little things that he does for other people. I have so much respect for him. I feel like he deserves the absolute best season he possibly can have. I know I'm gonna get over there. There was one game really hard for Garrison, and he had his head down, and I'm gonna get teary-eyed. But honey, I started crying. I had to walk out in that hallway because I don't like to see. He deserves a great season. Our teams, our coaches do, the school does, and I feel like Garrison. I don't know if I could be happier for anybody more than I will be for him.
Oh,
get the tissues.
I know.
What is I hate to say worst, but that's like the only thing that comes to mind. But I guess what's the most competitive arena you guys have been in that you're just like, oh my God, this is an arena.
NC State
Basketball.
I have been to every Southeastern Conference arena there is. Mm-hmm. Some Conference USAs, a lot of places, but I had never seen a place like NC State. I mean, it was really, I was thoroughly impressed, kind of, sort of, but I was like, that's a line ratchet. It was different. It was, most people will say Cameron, but Cameron ain't big enough to rouse me yet, but NC State was a totally different animal. It was
I
different.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Same for you, Miss Carla?
Oh, absolutely. They were the nastiest, hatefulest people I have ever seen. And I know some my sister graduated from NC State. So she was with us, and I was like, you better get your people. But you get used to it. At the same time, you're prepared, but the level they took it to, I don't think I was prepared for that. I mean, the banners, the ugly things that they had written on some of the banners, you're prepared, but you're like, they really are trying to take you mentally completely out. The fans too. And I think really our coaches, I'm sure were preparing them, but I think we took that as a challenge, and all of us that were there at that game, we were like, we gonna cheer our boys on despite, it was just like a battle. Yeah. They were nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your most memorable game?
I would have to say I was home, Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And I watched those overtimes again and again and again. And I have never seen Garrison fall to the floor, fatigue, the disappointment, but then when the guys told me everything that he told them in the locker room, that was probably my most memorable game. I would say when he dunked on Wendell back in New York, but it would have to be the heart and soul that he left on the floor at Virginia Tech this past season.
I would say that game, because we, of course, went into overtime, and I just felt like that was one of my son's best games. And I felt like despite what he was hearing in the stands, he had a chip on his shoulder. I knew he was hurting. And then I heard about the things that were said in the locker room. And one of the coaches from your child, and that made me happy, because I'm like, I'm just grateful somebody does that, because as mothers, we're like the keepers of the soul. So when we know somebody else, some other man or whatever is doing that on our behalf, we just like, okay. And then one of the assistant coaches came out and said, your son was a leader in that locker room too. He didn't talk like Garrison, but he said, I really saw a different Leaky tonight. And I said, well, I hope we see more of that Leaky. So, and we know how the rest of the season went, but I don't know everything that was said, but I heard that story, Tammala. And then I heard that there was just a different feel, like we might not have come out of here with what we wanted, but I hope we all grew from this in the best way possible. Stop being defeated. We can do this if we want to. And I felt like that was a tide changing game that night.
And lastly, what is something that you want your child to know?
I would have to say I'm proud of him as an athlete, but I'm even more proud of the young man that he has become, the leader, the vocal guy, and the Christian. They called me one Wednesday and they said, well, Garrison's leading Bible study. And I said, Garrison, who? I had to make him be an usher down here at Mount Pisgah. But he has grown so much. And I think that the young man that stands before me now, he told me on the way home, he said, in May, I'm going to be a grown man. I'm going to be off your dime. I said, you ain't going to be off my dime. And I think that's one thing that I want him to know, that I am so very, very proud that after everybody that said he couldn't go to Carolina and would never play at Carolina, they did, all the negativity. Hey, you did it.
I would echo what Ms. Tammala said, and also say there are a lot of things that my child has had to undergo, I would say, since he committed to Carolina personally, and definitely basketball wise, or personally that has affected basketball, so to speak. And I want him to know I've watched his maturation, and I continue to watch him grow into the man that I'm praying that he will be, because I go running about 6:30 in the morning, most mornings out on the track at the school next door to me. And I continue to thank God for whatever this season is bringing, whatever fruit comes from this season. I thank him for it, because I see him maturing. I hope and pray that this season is the season that he understands better and can produce on the court, and that it gives God glory. I say that all the time. I'm counting that. But also that he understands the connection between what I do on the court and the opportunity, and what a privilege this is. Don't squander that away, because I hear over and over again people say you will never regret having attended University of North Carolina. You would never regret. It is truly a family. It's a gift. So don't take it lightly. So I hope that he knows I love him no matter what the season brings. But I definitely am hoping and praying that I continue to see the growth in the man he's becoming.
Okay.
Like it. Love it. Love it. thank y'all so much for joining us on The Player and the Fan. And like y'all remind me of my mama so much, so I feel I'm good and full. My soul is blessed over here. Yeah, we had crying, we had laughter, we had all the emotions. So I definitely appreciate y'all for coming on The Player and the Fan. Me and Quierra, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us today. So Quierra, you got anything else?
I don't. I'm happy.
Quierra, if we are on travel restrictions and they can't go home, I have been tasked with making Christmas dinner. So
Hey,
we'll save you a slice of red velvet, a pound cake, or something.
I make a peach cobbler, so you can. Yeah.
so you like I'm gonna just text y'all my address. You know,
Just drop something off.
Just drop something off. That's it.
Just drop something off.
Can I just say one thing? And I'm definitely waiting on you, Tam, to tell me what I'm eating when we come to your place. I just want to say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. Coach Noel, I remember hearing about you receiving a coaching position a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe if I'm wrong, am I wrong about that? And then I read more about you as a player and a person. And I just want you to know I admire you. I don't know you personally. I haven't met you. I admire you. And Quierra, when I met you last spring, I just want you to know, I feel like the old grandma. I just want you to know I'm proud of you too. Just to know what you're doing. I follow you now and I read what you say. I like what you say. I stalk Miss Tammala, but I follow you and I respect what you do. So just y'all keep doing what you're doing. I just wanted to say we're proud of you too.
We definitely appreciate that. And yeah, Quierra's my lady. Oh
She
my
done
goodness.
She done
I need some tissue. I need some tissue now. Y'all can have me cry.
I just say it again.
But yeah,
I truly thank you, ladies, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I never knew embarking on this journey that how important parents are to writing or to storytelling, and you two have been the embodiment of what it really means to understand not only players as athletes but also as people. And it's always been my mission to just humanize athletes because they're people. So getting to know the reason behind their drive, their parents, has been the best thing alive. So I'm more than grateful. And this is just my push for my red velvet cake. So
Gotcha.
So I get the whole cake. So whatever.
Gotcha.
All right, well, thank you
love
so much, David. Anything else?
That's it. We good. We
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.